There are a lot of changes happening in my life right now, and as a result of that, I have noticed that I have been self-sabotaging so much. I'm not gonna lie, I've been falling back into bad habits quite often and quite frequently. As I mentioned in my last video, I am actually moving out finally. My boyfriend and I are in the process of getting a house, and we're going through the motions right now. So we are going to be moving out very, very soon, and there are a lot of things that are changing in my life at the minute and in his life, and it's made it just so much easier to slip back into the old bad habits that I work so hard to get out of. So for example, at the minute I've been waking up so late. I've been so tired all of the time. I've not had any kind of morning routine. I just wake up whenever I can, like as late as I possibly can, because obviously I have work, so late for me is like 6:30. But if I'm waking up at 6:30, I don't have time to do any kind of morning routine. I am literally driving home from my boyfriend's, getting ready, eating some breakfast quick and leaving. And I am somebody who really treasures my alone time. I treasure my time in the morning and my morning routines to just ground myself and do yoga and just do things that make me feel good. I know that there's a lot of controversy over like 5 a.m. morning routines, and I don't think that it's a fit for everybody, but in my life, that's kind of what I have to do in order to get some me time in the morning. Like 5 a.m. is the only time that I can wake up to do that. So I personally really used to enjoy getting up at 5 a.m. but at the minute I just can't physically bring myself to get out of bed. Like it makes me emotional, and like I don't know what's going on at the minute, but my dreams are so cool. Like they're so good right now. And you know when you just don't want to wake up, like your alarm will go off but you're in the middle of a really good dream and you really want to continue the dream, so you'll snooze your alarm and you'll go back to sleep again. That's what I've been doing because my dreams are just so juicy. So that's an issue in itself. I have also been very avoidant of real life and my problems. Not problems, should I say responsibilities. I've been very avoidant of my responsibilities. I'm usually very on it when it comes to my financial situation and just on top of things in life in general. But just recently, I have not. I've been completely avoiding all of the things that I need to do because I just don't feel like I have the capacity to deal with it. And obviously those things combined really do set the scene for me to fall easily into other bad habits such as comfort eating, which has been a big thing for me recently. Not as much now, like I am kind of getting out of it, but I've been comfort eating a lot. I've been eating a lot of fast food, a lot of takeaways, a lot of sugar. Like I feel like I'm in the midst of a sugar addiction, which I'm also trying to wean myself off, but sugar's great. I love sugar, I love desserts, I love anything like that. So, and that has also been something that I used to always confide in when I was going through difficult times. So I've been doing that a lot, and I found myself spiraling into these negative thought patterns and getting myself into a little bit of a victim mindset and just feeling generally a little bit shit about myself. Like I feel generally happy, but I have been noticing that I'm falling into that more negative side of things, and I've realized that I was actively choosing struggle over joy and over doing anything in my life that would make me feel a little bit better. I have just been taking zero accountability for my actions, and then I've been feeling sorry for myself about it basically. So obviously I've noticed all of that in myself. As much as these things are deemed bad and things that you shouldn't be doing, I want to kind of just shout out to the people who are going through it, who are going through changes and things are just happening in their life. They might be changing internally, like their mindset might be changing and evolving and growing, or maybe their external life or your external life is changing and growing, and people don't talk about how difficult that is. Even if the change is good, it still can be really difficult to navigate because it's change at the end of the day. Like we don't bode well with change as human beings. We like things to be comfortable, we like things to be familiar. So just extend yourself a little bit of grace if you are going through anything like I'm going through, like things are just changing in your life and you find yourself falling into bad habits again and doing things that you probably shouldn't be doing. It is so normal and it's so easy to slip back into these things, so it's nothing to feel guilty or shameful about, which is something that I am definitely guilty of, is feeling guilty and shameful about myself and my actions. As I've said before, like I don't think that does any good, feeling guilty and shameful about anything that you do, because everything that you do is for a reason. Like there is a reason that you are falling back into old habits, and there's a reason why you are not waking up at 5 a.m. And I think honouring yourself and having a bit more trust in yourself and in your body and what you are capable of at this moment in time, I think that's so important, because there's no good in shaming ourselves ourselves and making ourselves feel bad because we are not on our healthy habits and on our healthy routines like everybody else on the internet is. You don't need to feel bad about that, but I know how difficult it is to make yourself feel better when you are not living optimally, like you're not doing the things that are making you feel good, and maybe you're self-sabotaging a little bit. Our lives and our existence, like human nature as a whole, we are very seasonal and cyclical. So there's going to be different seasons in our life, and there's going to be different times of our life where we just need to adapt to it and flow with it rather than resisting it. So obviously I have my season of being in my healthy habits and waking up at 5 a.m. and doing the damn thing, but at the minute that's not my reality because I have different priorities right now. I am in the middle of moving in with my boyfriend into our first ever house, and that comes with all of its own struggles. Not struggle, I don't want to say struggles because it's not struggles, but it's all very different, it's all very new, and it's so exciting, but it's also a little bit low-key scary. I'm not gonna lie, like when things are changing in your life, it is scary. Even if you can't make sense of that, it might just be your subconscious that is scared of it, or your inner child is scared of it because it's not familiar to you. I also think if you are working a 9-to-5 job, or if you're working several jobs and you're doing the most, you're just trying to get by, you're trying to do the best that you can possibly do, it's really difficult to maintain this positive attitude sometimes when you are working yourself to the max, like you are burning yourself out in your 9-to-5 job and your side hustles or whatever you've got going on. I know that personally, that I have really over the past few years exerted myself a lot, and I've pushed myself to the point of burnout. And when you're in a place of burnout, it's almost impossible to maintain healthy habits. In fact, I think it is impossible to maintain your healthy habits and be healthy and be that girl, because you are basically just focusing on surviving and getting through that burnout or getting through that rock bottom phase of your life. Healthy habits genuinely don't come into the equation when you are going through it. I know that obviously people say, like when you watch videos on YouTube, it'll say like, oh, well, these healthy habits are going to pull you out of it. And you might know that those healthy habits are going to pull you out of it, but sometimes you just need to be in it. You need to just experience it and feel it and allow yourself to just do whatever you can to survive in that moment and not feel bad about it. And I'm not trying to enable anything. I'm not trying to enable bad habits or anything like that, but I'm just coming at this with a different approach and different perspective, because I think a lot of people are quick to say, oh, well, you just need to do this and then you'll be fine. Like you just need to exercise and you'll feel better because you've got natural endorphins. Or you need to eat healthy food because it has the nutrients that you need and it's going to make you feel better. Like, yes, we fucking know that. We know that. People who are in a rough patch in their life, they know what they need to do. We know what we need to do, but we physically can't do it for whatever God-known reason. We can't do it. So I think the only thing you can do in that moment is to extend a little bit of grace to yourself. If you're going through a difficult time, or if you're even going through change, whether that be positive or negative, just know that it's fine to fall off a little bit. It's fine to maybe catch yourself self-sabotaging, or catch yourself maybe not looking after your body in the way that you probably should be. I find when I'm in times like this, it really does bring to the surface my issues and my battle with perfectionism and an all or nothing mindset. I definitely have struggled with perfectionism all my life. I think anyone with strict parents will know this struggle. They will know that they need everything to be perfect because they want to seek the validation and the praise from their parents, which is almost impossible because their standards are through the roof. But yeah, so I've suffered with perfectionism for a long time. Over the past year, I've really fought through that, and I've really pushed myself to do things that are uncomfortable, and I've pushed myself to do things or publish videos, let's say, that aren't perfect and I'm not entirely happy with, because I know that there's tiny little tweaks that I could have done differently. I've just forced myself to upload them anyway. And I think this has all come from the understanding and the awareness that nothing is ever going to be perfect. Like no matter how much you tweak something or perfect something, you're always going to find something different, because we're always growing, we're always expanding our mindset. So there's always going to be new perspectives and new things that we see. Even if you watch a movie for like the second time, you are going to notice different things in that movie that you didn't notice the first time round. There is always things to notice that are different and could potentially be fixed. But the world doesn't need that. Like it doesn't always need things to be perfect. In fact, I think the world never needs anything to be perfect, truly, because what even is perfect? It doesn't exist. Your idea of imperfect might be somebody else's idea of the best, most life-altering thing they've ever seen or heard in their life. So you've got to look at it from that perspective. Even if you're not happy with what you're doing right now, is going to serve a purpose to the greater world. It's going to serve a purpose to somebody. Somebody is going to resonate with it. So yeah, as I was saying, I think with having that perfectionistic mindset, you do also fall into that trap of having a very all or nothing mindset. So it's like, if this thing isn't perfect, then I'm just not going to do it. So for me, I fall into the mindset of like, well, if I'm not waking up at 5 a.m, if I'm not doing yoga every single day, if I'm not drinking my 2 liters of water every day, blah, 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 if I'm not doing all of that, then I might as well not do anything at all. I might as well just sack it all off, give into the temptation of the things that I know that aren't good for me, and just say I'll start again tomorrow or I'll start again next week. As much as I do think sometimes we do just need that like fresh start feeling, we need to just be like, right, I'm just gonna sack off this for the day. I'm just gonna let myself feel whatever I'm feeling and I'm gonna give into temptations or whatever. As much as I do think that's good, I do think that we don't need to do that. And I think having that mindset is actually quite detrimental to your growth as a person. If you are constantly putting things off because you've not gotten them perfect and you've not done them exactly how you wanted to do them, you're never going to get anywhere, because you're just going to keep making excuses for yourself, and you're going to keep telling yourself you're going to start tomorrow, or you're going to start on Monday, or you're going to start at the start of the month. You're just going to keep telling yourself that, and it's not going to happen because you're not dealing with the problem at hand, which is the reason why you don't want to do this thing. There is always a reason. So yeah, I'm really trying to snap out of this all or nothing mindset, and I'm trying to tell myself that even if I have, let's say, a McDonald's, let's say I have a McDonald's breakfast, that does not mean that I need to have fast food for every other meal of the day and that I need to go out and buy myself chocolate and sweets and God knows what. I can have a McDonald's breakfast in the morning, but I can also then decide from that moment on that I'm not going to write off my day. I'm actually going to make better choices from that point forward. And I think that is so much more helpful in building the life that you want and in becoming the person that you want to be, because you are learning how to be balanced. You're learning how to have things in moderation. And that is what everyone is going to tell you. Like any person who is like older than you, or like your grandparents, your parents, whatever, they're all going to say to you like everything in moderation, because we all know that. It's an inherent knowing within us that we just need to have whatever we want in moderation. We don't need to cut things out cold turkey. I also had this revelation when I was walking around Aldi the other week that it's actually so much easier to have an all or nothing mindset than it is to have balance. That might sound crazy, but I personally find that it is so much easier to tell myself that I'm going to be completely clean with my eating, I'm going to exercise all the time, I'm going to do the very most and cut out sugar, cut out everything bad. It's so much easier for me to do that and for me to stick to it for like a couple of days or whatever, or a week, than it is to actually go throughout your day with this energy of balance. I know for me personally, if I'm eating sugar or chocolate, it's addictive to me. Like if I eat one chocolate bar, like I'm thinking, oh, that made me feel really good, I want to have another one. So the solution to that problem isn't just to cut it out cold turkey, because you know that you're going to have it eventually again, and you know that you're probably going to fall in this mindset of like, oh, I want another one because it felt so good when I had it. I think the solution to it is actually to learn how to have that thing, but in moderation. And I think even when it comes to like diets and things like that, if you're on a diet, don't give things up completely. Like actually challenge yourself to eat one of that thing, and just challenge yourself to integrate a little bit of the pleasures of life and the indulgences of life into your day. Because I just had this revelation that like it would rewire your brain in a better way than the all or nothing mindset would, where you just give everything up. People underestimate how much balance is actually a skill. It's a muscle. You need to work on it like you would go to the gym and train your glutes. I also think it's really important to understand the reasons why we self-sabotage. So I was sat here the other day and I was genuinely getting so sick of my shit, and I was thinking, why do I feel like I've just got no self-control whatsoever? Why do I feel like I am a victim of my choices? So I decided enough was enough, and I thought, right, what am I going to do to actually snap out of this? Because it was getting to the point where I was just validating every single bad decision that I was making. I was like, yeah, well, I'm just going to do this, I'm going to start again tomorrow, blah, 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 all that kind of shit. And I thought to myself, no, I don't want to feel this way. I don't want to keep enabling myself to do things that are bad for me and that actually make me feel really bad and that reinforce this negative feedback loop. So I got my journal out. I have it in front of me right now. So I was journaling and I came to the conclusion that I have a fear of responsibility. I think this is probably coming up with the fact that obviously I'm moving out of my family home for the first time, which is amazing, blessed, so happy about that. But also it brought on this energy or this fear of responsibility that I never ever knew that I had. So from learning that, I thought, right, I'm I'm gonna dig a little bit deeper and I'm gonna figure out like why am I having this fear of responsibility? Like that's crazy, because consciously I don't have that fear, but obviously all fears are generally subconscious fears. Like we don't really have a reasoning for them. It's just something that's ingrained into our subconscious mind. So I put, what responsibilities am I avoiding right now? And I wrote down 3 just to begin with. And I put, first of all, my financial situation. I have been avoiding that like the goddamn plague. Secondly, my washing. I've just not been doing washing recently, guys. And thirdly, my YouTube channel. I have been avoiding my YouTube channel. I've been avoiding applying myself to my YouTube channel in the way that I know I can apply myself. And I was avoiding scripting a video or planning a video or doing anything to work towards my YouTube channel and the growth of my YouTube channel. I was just avoiding it because I was scared of the responsibility of having this YouTube channel and having a big following or having the things that I want to come from this YouTube channel. Then I got down to the nitty-gritty and I was like, right, why am I avoiding these things? Like, what is the reason that I am avoiding these things? I just dug into why these things are scaring me so much and why I'm avoiding these things and pretending that they don't exist. Because honestly, trust me guys, avoidance doesn't get you anywhere. It really doesn't. It just makes you more anxious, if anything. Like your problems are always still going to be there, but you're just avoiding them and you're kind of delaying dealing with them until later, which is a disservice to your future self, who you also want to be the best version of yourself. So it's like you're just setting yourself up for failure. But basically, what did I put? So I put, the reason that I'm avoiding looking at my financial situation and getting my finances in order is, for one, I'm scared that I'll realize that I can't afford the life that I want or the life that I've been living at the minute. Fear of not having enough money to do the things that I want. That's the same fucking thing. Fear of seeing how much money I've been unintentionally spending. So for example, I really don't want to look at my bank account because I know that I've been spending a lot of money on food, and that annoys me because it's like, why am I spending money on food like when I've already done my food shop? I also put, I would rather just not. And then I put the fear of realizing I'll have to work more. Then I went on to the second one. So like, why am I avoiding doing my washing? I put the fear of getting annoyed at my mum that she's always using the washing machine. The struggle is real, guys. Like I genuinely get really annoyed about it because I'm like, why can I not do my own washing? I'm a grown woman, blah, blah, blah. But it's probably because I'm living at my family home and like, fair enough, she needs to use the washing machine. But like, why does she need to use it so much? Anyway, then I got deeper and I found out if I do this, if I do my washing, I'll have no excuse to not do other bigger things that I've been avoiding. Of course, that's the reason. And then I also put, I just don't want to, which, right, let's just avoid that because it's unhelpful. And then 3, so that was the fear that I've been avoiding my YouTube channel. And I put the desire for my next video to be perfect, going back to the all or nothing perfect mindset, the subconscious urge to not disappoint. Obviously my last video got quite a few views on it and I thought I don't want to post a video after that that's going to be really shit and people are going to be like, oh, why did I even subscribe to this girl? Which obviously that's just a limiting belief. Whatever. Fear of letting myself down if the video isn't good. My ego being humbled if I film it and it doesn't go as smoothly as I'd like it to. Fear of getting frustrated and annoyed when things don't run smoothly, because being a YouTuber and creating content, it doesn't always run smoothly. Like it can be quite difficult and it can be annoying when obstacles come up and you have to overcome them, blah blah blah. And then I also put fear of committing myself to another big project, because I know that when I commit myself, like when I actually start working on a video, I know that I give my all to it. I know that I put all my time, all my effort and all my attention and energy into that video, and obviously that's very exhausting, it's quite draining, but I love doing it. So I think from that I got that I have this fear of having to work. And then, so obviously throughout all of those different things, I realized that I actually have this fear of working. Even though I work a lot and I am a hard worker, don't get me wrong, but I think that was the undercurrent of like all of my fears, just the fear of having to work more and put more time into things that aren't my comfort zone, if that makes sense. I was genuinely getting to a point where I was prioritizing my comfort zone and my comforts and watching Modern Family, eating bad food and all that kind of stuff. I was prioritizing that over all of my responsibilities, and that has been something that I didn't want to sacrifice. It's been a time of a lot of change in my life. So I didn't want to sacrifice my comforts because that was the one thing that felt like it was getting me through and felt like it was supporting me during these times. So anyway, after just exposing my whole entire fucking journal practice, there was more, but we're not going to go into that. But I just wanted to demonstrate, like, that is how I work through these things and that's how I process things when I'm journaling, and it really does help me. I know that it seems simple and I know that it seems like journaling's not going to do anything, because I used to think this all the time. Like, I would think, well, I know these things in my mind, I don't need to write them down. Like, what is writing down going to do for me? Because I already know what I'm going to write down, and like, that's not going to help. Like, I just always thought that it wouldn't help, but honestly, once you start saying things out loud and writing things down, you start to realize and see the patterns that are going on, and you start to realize why you don't want to do a certain thing. So for example, out of those 3 things, like the main 3 things that I've been avoiding at the minute, I realized that the undercurrent in that was like, I had a fear of working, which obviously I went deeper into. But I think once you get an understanding of why you are the way that you are, or why you act the way that you act, it actually gives you this sense of empowerment, and it gives you the tools that you need to actually make a change in your life. If you don't know where you're going wrong and you don't know why you're going wrong, then it's really, really difficult to actually make any change. And you'll more than likely just stay stuck in the same loops that you've always been stuck in, because you're not addressing them. You're not actually getting to the root of it. Since I've done this journal practice, I've actually been a lot more productive. Like, I've been a lot more proactive in terms of getting my life together, because I think I'm trying to figure out what it is. I think it's the accountability. I think when you write something down, when you write down why you're not doing something, when you write down what you're not doing, why you're not doing that, and how you can overcome it, it gives you this sense of accountability, and it makes you feel like, right, I don't want to continue doing these things. Like, these things don't resonate with the person that I want to be, and how do I change that? Sometimes you've got to confront yourself with a journal practice or with just talking to somebody else about it. I think we all know that when you start talking to somebody about something, in the time that you've been speaking, you'll have probably answered the query or the problem yourself in your head. I do this all the time, and then I'm like, fucking hell, I wish I never even started speaking. But yeah, all of that to say is that if you were going through difficult times at the minute, or if things are changing in your life, things just seem uncertain, and I think generally speaking, things are changing for all of us because we are going through a season change. So I think that is difficult for the majority of the population. If you're going through that kind of change and you're feeling the brunt of it, just know that it's not a bad thing if it's not business as usual in your life, if you're not sticking to your healthy habits and you're not doing everything by the book and exactly how people are telling you to do it online. Extend yourself a little bit of grace and understand what you're going through, but also get curious about it and get aware about it, because once you start journaling on these things, like I've just said, it gives you so much clarity and it makes you feel so much better. It's honestly helped me so much. And the night of the day that I was journaling about that, all of the things, I actually ended up volunteering to work and cover my little brother's shift, which I wasn't going to do because I wanted to just stay in and be in my little comfort bubble. But I thought, no, I'm just going to do that. It almost felt silly that I realized that I had this fear of working when I don't actually have a fear of working. Like, I really enjoy working. It's more of a subconscious fear. And I think that's where you have to hold the hand of your inner child or hold the hand of your subconscious and just kind of say to them, like, right, I know that you're scared of this. I know that you're feeling uneasy about it and unsettled about it, but I'm going to hold your hand all the way through and we're going to do this. It's not as bad as what you think. We're not in the same position that we was when we was a child, and it felt really scary to have to do something so out of your comfort zone. Like, we have come so far and I am going to be there with you every single step of the way. I think sometimes our inner child just needs that reparenting, and it just needs you to be that parent figure that you need in that moment, who you know would help you get through something. So yeah, that has honestly helped me so much, and I think getting really clear about my shit and just getting clear about the things that I'm doing and the things that I'm not doing and taking accountability for everything that I'm not doing, it just gave me a sense of empowerment is all I'm trying to say. And it made me feel like I had the strength and the know-how to actually navigate my way through this scary time. You do just need to remind yourself sometimes that things aren't as scary as your subconscious is telling you. I know for one that I am so tired of choosing the struggle life. I am so tired of choosing to make bad decisions all of the time, which are consequently making me feel so shit and making me feel like I'm going into a spiral of negative thoughts and negative everything. You always have the power to change your life at any given moment, but you just have to take that time out to do that and to get accountable with yourself and understand where your weak points are, if you want to call it that. I don't want to struggle anymore. I just want to be happy. I want to go through life and just be happy about things. Anyway, guys, I love you so much. Thank you so much for all your support on the last video. I love reading your comments so much. It genuinely makes me feel so happy. I say this in every single video at the end, but it's because it's so true. I love reading your comments. So if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave me a comment first and foremost, and also like and subscribe if you enjoyed it, because that would really help me a lot. Let me know if you've been falling into any kind of bad habits recently and what your weaknesses are. So like the things that you kind of default back to in difficult times, because I know for me that it's comfort eating. It really is, and that is something that I am actively working on. But I'm really curious to know if you guys have got any kind of things that you fall back to in difficult times, because the struggle is real. Again, if you want to work with me, the link is down below in my bio. I basically offer one-on-one sessions where we can just talk about anything. We can talk about boy problems, girl problems, friend problems, life problems, whatever problems you're going through, we can talk about it there if you are interested. But if you do not want to splash the cash, or I say splash the cash, it's not that expensive, but anyway, if you don't want to spend money on that right now, or you can't spend money on that right now, just leave me a comment or just DM me on Instagram if you've got any queries or anything that you want advice on or help on. I am so happy to give you that advice or to be there for you and support you guys. But obviously the option's always there if you want to work with me. The link is in my bio. I hope you all have an amazing weekend. I love you so much, and I will see you next week. Bye.